Guys, we are once again sitting down with greatness. We have in the hallowed halls of the House of Hounds, Henry Schrader. He is a fantastic voice actor, and you are now going to get to know him. He is the voice of our beloved Ben Bigger in Zenless Zone Zero. Henry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so happy to have you. I'm very amped to have this conversation. I know we, talked a little bit beforehand, but if you come by my stream, anyone who watches my stream, I bring Ben Bigger anytime I can. That is my homie. I love the work you did with that character. I work in finance, during my day job. So just coming across this big burly bear who's going through like accounting and financing, I was like, I feel seen.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. That's so nice of you. That introduction was that was awesome. But yeah, ironically, I am just terrible at math. I was never good at it in school. And then when science turned into math, like with chemistry and stuff, I got bad at science. So it's very funny because everyone's like, oh, I bet you know how to work a calculator, and I'm like, I can't. No. If you need financial advice, go to somebody else because I can't do my own taxes, man. But
Look, I love the Odyssey. I love the Odyssey, man.
yeah, I mean, I appreciate being able to play something I'm not. It's a good exercise.
Well, that's the beauty of your job, right? You get to play, different people, perform different roles, kind of step outside of yourself. And one thing that always, I guess, brings me joy, I guess I can say in a way, is, when I'm talking to you guys and I don't hear the character. I think that's so cool. It's like you're able to turn
Yeah.
into somebody else. Could you tell me how you found Ben's voice?
Yeah, so it was kind of, I mean, it was a work in progress when we started because I did the audition, and the audition was not specific, because they obviously want to kind of keep things under wraps so people don't leak stuff, but it just said Bear Warrior for the specs, and I was like, okay, so this is like a World of Warcraft thing, I guess, some kind of high fantasy, and it said he uses a pillar, so I'm picturing like a kind of barbarian, pillar, chains, like that kind of thing. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then it said he was the accountant, and I was like, okay, can't think of a single fantasy thing that has an accountant. But all right, sure. And so, something that I think is really important in voice acting to try and stand out in your auditions is do things or add things to a character that other people maybe won't do. Because, you hear Bear Warrior, everyone's going like, oh, big, gritty, tough guy thing. When I saw accountant, I was like, okay, so he's got to be some kind of, softy kind of character too. Because some of the lines for auditioning were a little more soft too. So, it started with this, hey, how's it going? Like that kind of thing. That's what I auditioned with. And so in the first session, we start kind of going into it. And there was a Hoyo rep there who was he was kind of there to make sure we were getting what they wanted.
Yeah.
Right. So I start doing some lines, and they're like, okay, those are good, but could you do them the way you did with the audition? And I was like, I thought I was. What do you mean? So I'm sitting there what do I do now? I don't know. And they were like, yeah, so the way you did it in the audition, we really liked the like gravel in the combat lines, you know, that stuff. And I was like, so that just happens when I scream, and I can't like scream every line, you know? So, the director for that part of the game, Michael Schwalbe, he was like, he teaches a metal VO class on like, he's a metal singer. So he teaches these techniques on finding your false chords and using them to scream without like damaging your throat.
Yeah.
So he gave me so much good advice that like totally, in my opinion, it totally saved the character for me. Like, because they wanted that kind of big bear sound in all the lines.
Okay.
And so he taught me how to add in that gravel. And normally I would warm up before the session. To find your false chords, you have to make this sound that's kind of like you're humming and you hear the resonance. So you go and where you hear that kind of like vibrating, those are your false chords. So he taught me how to use those at the same time to go from like, hi everybody, how's it going, to hi everybody, how's it going? You know, just kind of add in that little extra bit. So I mean, I had part of it originally, but definitely working through that first session, I had a lot of help finding that next dimension to his character. And yeah, it took me a while to get it down. I mean, his voice is like at the bottom of my register, adding in all the gravel on top of that. Like, it took a good few sessions before I was like, okay, I feel like really confident now that I can hit that consistently.
No, and that's really cool how you're able to, you know, switch in and out the difference. The cool thing about, you know, Ben is, you know, he's a bear, so you know he's strong, right? And he swings a giant pillar or power driver, so you know he's not to be messed with. But there's this gentleness to the character that I feel as though you're able to bring in vocally, and that's such a skill. And, you know, how were you able to, you know, find that? Because you got very like vague information, and we get why. It's like bear, warrior, accounting, but you were able to find that. You know, what kind of led you there?
I mean, I think a lot of it really goes into the strength of the writing for this game. I mean, you know, I've never really played their other games, so like maybe it's how it all is, but I've seen a lot of people online specifically praising this game's writing. They're like, you know, it's nice that it's so character focused, and you're not trying to save the entire universe at the moment. At least you are, you know, you're just getting kind of stories from people's lives, and you get a lot of time with the characters to really get a sense of who they are and what they like, you know. So I feel like a lot of credit goes to the lines that they gave me to audition with, because like I said, some of them were kind of the more soft, like, you know, hi, my name's Ben and I'm, you know, whatever, like, I'm the accountant, like that kind of thing. Because if it had all been those big like attack lines, like I probably would have been like, all right, there's no room for that like softness. So I feel like a lot of it comes down to that. And I mean, I love how three-dimensional he is, you know, like it's the most fun as a voice actor to be able to play a character who you can see, you know, patting somebody on the back, making sure they're okay, and then also like kicking ass, you know. It's super fun to have such a multifaceted character. So yeah, I feel like a lot of it really comes through in the writing, and obviously the direction. Both Michael Schwalbe and Amber Lee Connors, those were the two directors I worked with, and they were both super good, super willing to let me experiment, and also pushing me to like get the absolute best take. You know, I think a lot of people have this idea of like, as a really good voice actor, you should be doing like one and done takes. But I think as a really good director, you probably do end up with 2, 3, 4 takes, because you're going like, all right, it's like 80% there. What if we just try this? And you just keep trying stuff until you're like, that's it. That's the 100%, perfect take.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as much as I'd like to say, like, well, I'm just so good, I knew exactly what to do, a lot of it really is the group effort, especially, like, MiHoYo was really good about letting us kind of change the lines a little bit to fit with American kind of localization stuff. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but, like, all of Ben's lines are construction themed.
Yeah.
So there was one line that I think it was like, let's all get ship shape, like something like that. And we changed it to like, put your hard hats on. Okay. And it's super nice to have that, like, that freedom to go like, hey, do you mind if we like make it a little more kind of in the theme? And they're like, yeah, that sounds good, because so many games you record and it's like, we want you to do exactly what's written. That's it,
Well, no, that's pretty cool, and thank you, for letting us in, a bit on the process and how you found the character. But let me ask, let's hear more about you. How did you get started in voice acting?
So I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. It's like nine and some months, but more or less, it's kind of a complicated story because there was a lot going on at the time. But when I was graduating high school and it was time to decide, like, what do you want to do? My lung collapsed, which was the second time that happened, actually. The first time was in high school. I was 16, I think. But so, I had the surgery. It was all fine, but the thing about that specific surgery, when you are recovering, you can't lift anything over 5 pounds. Right. So for the first 2 months, nothing over 5 pounds, and then you add 5 pounds each month. So I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, what job can I get where I'm never going to have to lift like 20 pounds, So sitting at home, recovering, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. I would like to think, fairly good writer. That was something I was always good at in school, to offset the math, I guess. And so I was thinking about, like, well, maybe I'll go to college for writing. And then I was like, but what can I do with a writing degree that I can't do without, And college is, I mean, it was already so expensive when I was going into that stuff that I was like, I don't know. So I decided to write a book. Wanted to see how that would go. Decided I definitely did not want to be a writer for a living, because the first half I was like, this is awesome, having a lot of fun. Next quarter of it, I was like, I'm kind of running out of steam on this. Last quarter, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so tired of writing. So, finished the book, put it out on Amazon, and went, all right, not doing that. What else can I do? And I was always a big anime, video game fan. So I was like, I like voice actors. Like, I knew some of the, like, Yuri Lowenthal and Steve Bloom, lots of the big guys, Johnny Youngbosch. I was like, how do I do that? Like, how can I make that happen, And looking online, I saw Casting Call Club, like, and I played games with my friends on PC already, so I had an okay mic, a
Yeah.
Blue Yeti, So I was like, let me just try, let me try doing some stuff. So just started auditioning for fan dubs and, manga dubs, stuff like that. And I mean, they were not good auditions. I occasionally go back and listen to them just so I can be like, well, I have gotten better. I know at the very least, I've gotten better. But I just started doing it and I was having a lot of fun and I was like, yeah, I think this is what I want to do. So a few years after I started kind of doing that stuff, one of my friends told me like, oh, my uncle knows a guy who does like audiobooks.
Yeah.
So he was like, this website's what he uses, maybe try that out. Started doing audiobooks, and at that point I was like, okay, I'm making money off of this now.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot, but money. So I was like, all right, I need to get serious about it,
Yeah.
So I was at the time, my girlfriend and I moved to Dallas because she had graduated from Purdue here in Lafayette. And we ended up in Dallas for like 4 years or something because I was trying to get into Funimation, which is now Crunchyroll. But the pandemic happened and then everything was online anyway. And I was like, well, whatever. But while I was there, I took lessons at Voices Carry, which I highly recommend for anybody listening who's like, I want to maybe try out some lessons. I started with the group lessons and got so much better, so much faster, because when you're just by yourself, you don't get feedback on like, you could do this better, you could try this, So if you can if you can pay for lessons, I always tell people like lessons are the best way to get better fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did lessons for a while, got my voice reel and just started sending it out. And 10 years later, not 10 years later, that was like 4 or 5 years into it, but some years later, I've been very lucky to get a lot of audition opportunities for cool projects, and some of this bigger stuff, people took a chance on me and liked what they heard, and so yeah, I just feel very fortunate to be where I'm at.
Well, listen, we do appreciate, it's always interesting, hearing people's genesis, their lore. How did they, get rolling
Right.
things? But let me ask, now, you got 10 years in the game, you've got your reps in, you found who you are and how you work. What would you say is a defining feature or trait, or what is something that makes a voiceover artist great? Like, what is that thing where you're like, ooh, they got it, or oh, I found this?
That's a good question. I mean, I did teach voice lessons for a little bit there. And I mean, teaching is hard, man. Like, I genuinely believe people who can teach and are like good at it, like that's a crazy special skill. But as far as what makes a voice actor great, I think honestly it's different for each person, Like, that's what I think is kind of the beauty of the business, is like, I think, I'm in particular pretty good at doing like combat yells,
Okay.
Like, I think that's maybe my strongest skill as a voice actor.
I agree.
But thank you. But then I've got some friends who like, they're really good with, like commercial stuff, for example. Like, I'm not I'm not very good at commercial. Don't know why. I've just always had like, I'll audition for commercials, I'll get shortlisted, but I never get the commercial.
Okay.
And I think part of it's just where my voice is. They want either somebody who sounds older or younger, and I'm like in the middle where it's like, maybe, you know. So like, I think for different people it's different, you know. Some people are really good at accents, and that's where they kind of make their niche. And yeah, I always like to hear from other voice actors, like what's the thing that you feel like you're really good at, because everybody has like a different answer, you know.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you very much. It's your combat lines, they're very like when I hit my ultimate button, I'm ready to rip. It feels powerful. It feels like I just like, yo, I just dropped this pillar on this guy. So you did such a fantastic job of, let's say, creating that hype, that moment. Because you know when you're playing a game and you're going into the moves and the ultimate, you're like, okay, I'm into this. You want to lose yourself in the moment. So I think you excelled so well at providing that for us. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad it worked, because my throat was wrecked for like 2 days after that session. We did all the combat stuff at once, and you know, you can try and do them safely, but like to a degree, you're just gonna have to like tear your throat a little, you know. Which when I was teaching, that was what I always told people. They would like, you know, how do you yell safely? And I'm like, there's techniques you can do, but the safest thing is to just do it so well the first time that you don't have to do it again. Because 3 or 4 takes of that for each one is going to really, really kill your throat.
Yeah.
I just remember that, you know, for like 2 days afterwards, I was just like, what do you want for dinner? You know, like, it's like, I can't drink anything but like hot tea and yeah.
Well, well, let me ask, you know, now that, you know, things have been officially revealed, you're out there, you're like, now we can talk about this character. How do you feel about, you know, it's a new property, so, you know, the fan base is still forming, but, you know, Hoyoverse is a very large company. So, you know, it kind of has those baked in fans, but how do you feel about, you know, your space, your place within the Zenless Zone community now?
I mean, everybody's been super, super welcoming, super friendly, and really encouraging, you know. Like, when I used to stream, the reason I stopped is because, like, it gets discouraging after a while to be streaming to, like, 3 people, you know? You're just like, I mean, I'm not even, like, enjoying it at this point, you know? So I had my expectations low for the first stream, because I was like, you know, I'm a brand new Twitch channel, you know, nobody's like, they don't know who I am. This is the only role that people like know me for. So I was like, if I can get 10 people, that's good enough. That's plenty, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that first stream I had usually around 30 people watching, and I was like, that's, you know, that's
awesome.
Insane. So yeah, like everybody I've talked to has been super nice. I feel really, really lucky to be part of a group that's like, especially the other actors, they're all so talented, and like I'm super glad to be with them. It feels kind of surreal sometimes, because I'm like, man, some of these people are like super known, you know. But yeah, everybody's been awesome. I love all the fan art and the memes and stuff like that. So it's been a lot for somebody who had like no internet presence before and now has some internet presence. I'm like, it was a very busy couple of days there, just talking to everybody and talking to people who were trying to set up like meetings and stuff. Like I went from like I've got nothing on my schedule to like I've got 3 meetings tomorrow. I've got the live stream after that. I've got, so yeah, it's really fun. I'm really glad to be experiencing it.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, we're very happy to have you. I think you're going to see such more of an increase, over time. Now, have you found any similarities between, hey, I'm voice acting and then I'm also streaming? Have you found any of that crossover?
I think definitely being a voice actor helps make you comfortable on stream. Like
Okay.
a lot of people starting out streaming, they don't really realize kind of the volume you need to talk at or like the energy level.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very mellow person and I don't want to pretend to be otherwise on my stream. Like I'm never going to be the like, "Hey, what's up everybody? So
I feel called out.
no, I feel like that's within your range. I'm just one of those people, like, when I was in high school, everybody thought I came to school high because of the way I talked. And, I mean, I would also come in with red eyes, but it was because I was always just fucking exhausted,
Yeah.
like, my high school started earlier than a lot of people's, and I didn't know that. Like, I would get up at, like, 7 to get there on time, and, like, I would just come in and they're like, "Are you high?" And I'm like, "Why would I get high and come to school? Like, what
Right.
would be the fun in that?" But,
It's true.
but yeah, so like I want to offer people the authentic experience when they come to my stream, but I do think that just by being a voice actor, I just have learned to like, project a lot more than the average person starting out. Because like a lot of people kind of talk like this when they're streaming first. They kind of talk like back here,
Yeah.
and you really need to have this kind of like power behind your voice, even if it's not like louder or more excited. It engages people more if they come to your stream and you're like, "Hey, what's up? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in." Instead of like, "Oh, hey, nice to see you there."
Yeah.
Like, I think that helps just to be more comfortable in front of an audience. Because when you're recording, you have an audience. It's always at least you and the director, usually an engineer, and depending on the project, there's usually somebody there to answer questions or like, I don't know what else they would do, but it feels like there's always like 6 people in the room for some reason.
Yeah.
On the other end of my calls. But yeah.
Well, no, I definitely appreciate, you sharing that. And, I like to think I'm a pretty mellow person, right? Like my wife will tell you, but when, the lights go on and the camera goes on, I dial it up just a bit because I tell everyone, I like to have
Yeah.
a space where, it's non-toxic gaming. We're just here just to have a good time, enjoy this experience together. And, I
Yeah.
like to think, not in like a weird parasocial way, right? But like when people hit that follow button, you're now part of the pack. So we're going to have some fun. You
Yeah.
get to know a bit about me. I'm going to get to know a bit about you. And, we share that space. So I think you're going to do so well at that because you're very personable. You're very inviting where it's like, hey, we're just chilling out. We're just relaxing. We're playing the game. So you're going to kill it. You're going to
Well, I appreciate that. I've come a long way in that. Like, one of my friends told me the other day, because I hadn't talked to her in like probably about 10 years. It was my 10-year high school reunion recently, so I'm getting there. But she said like, "Yeah, you smile a lot more than you used to." And I was like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah, in high school you used to smile like this." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize." But so yeah, no, I'm glad I seem personable because I think I definitely used to not. and used to give off an air of maybe uncaring.
Oh, if we're going by
But
high school, then yeah, we probably didn't care. It's we all just wanted to go
I,
home.
yeah, I mean, I think I was just so tired all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I, I'm a person who needs a lot of sleep
Mm,
naturally. So on the weekends, like, I would not wake up till like 12, 1, 2. Like,
yeah.
to be fair, I also was staying up super late on Friday, so that will help. But I was going to bed at a normal hour for school. I was going to bed at like 10 and just waking up that early. It didn't matter. I was just like, ugh.
I was going to ask what game or show was keeping you up? Because for me, it was Castlevania. I was like, I got to unlock every single thing.
In high school, I mean, it would have depended on the year because I played on Xbox mostly in
Mm,
early high school, and then later on, I think sophomore year, I kind of switched over to PC, but I want to say most of it was GTA 5 with my friends.
okay.
We would just run around online doing random shit for hours the way you do in a GTA game. Uh, and yeah, that was probably the big one. I mean,
Can,
we played all sorts of stuff. Halo was another, you know.
can you believe we're finally about to get GTA 6?
It's it's pretty crazy. Like I have not played GTA in so long that like I'm almost like what am I even going to like do with the online, like is it even going to be for me anymore? Am I too old? Like I
I
don't
was like,
know.
you're going to get on, someone's going to blow up your car, it's going to run up your insurance, you're going to get mad. I already
Dude,
know what's going to happen.
I will say the most fun I ever had in GTA 5, and like it's kind of mean, but it's so funny. If you would like pay muggers, right? When you're
Yeah.
like I think level 20 or above or something like that, you can pay a mugger to go rob somebody. So what my friends and I would do is we would pay a mugger to go rob somebody and then watch them on the TV in the apartments. So you can see him like a guy just runs out of nowhere, knocks him to the ground, and then they get up and they're like, you know, what happened? Uh, the funniest time, there was a guy in the gun store in the back, like
Yeah.
where you can do the practice range. The guy ran in it, knocked him over, and he like crumpled into the corner. And the guy ran out because NPCs don't have to follow the rules of the
Right.
stores. So the guy slowly gets up and just slowly walks out because he can't run in the store. By the time he gets out, the guy's like long gone. But we did that to my friend a few times before he was like, is this you guys? Are you the ones doing this? And we are like, I mean, maybe,
Oh,
but
that's diabolical. I love it. I love it. I
it's so fun.
I was the guy going from lobby to lobby just hunting bounties. That was my thing.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good way to do it too, especially because like usually the bounties are on whoever's being the biggest dick in the
Yes.
the lobby. It's like, oh, this guy blew up everybody's car. Let's put a bounty on him, you know?
I
But
had a whole
yeah,
thing. I'd pop out the motorcycle, the leather jacket. It was like a whole Terminator theme. Forgive me.
right.
Maybe no more. But like
No, it's awesome.
now with that, we got some villain, tones in there.
Yeah.
Is there a property or a character or a verse or something you'd like to be a part of? You're like, man, I can have a take on that. I can do something a little different with that.
Oh, dude, so many. Uh, you know, I'm sure you've heard talking to so many different voice actors, but like we're all nerds. We all
Mm,
grew up wanting to be in something. And like for me, a big one is Bleach.
okay.
Um, I mean, right now my screensaver is the background for the new game that's coming out because I was like, yo, that looks sick. But you know, now that it's like started up again, I would love to be in Bleach as anybody, like background character, anything, just to be able to be like, I'm a part of that thing that was so influential on me when I was in school. Because with these long running properties, I mean, I started reading it in middle school, wasn't done until I was like graduated, but I know it gets messy at the end. There's a lot of flaws just because Kubo was like in a lot of pain and was like, I can't keep doing this all the time. So I get it. I think it's cool that they're using the anime to like fix that. But now that it's back, I'm like, yo, let me in. Like, I want to be somebody. Villains are so much fun to play, dude. Like, just having that like Dio or any of those like iconic like I'm better than you kind of villains. I would love to do that. I mean, JoJo is another one. Bleach, JoJo, Jujutsu Kaisen. Those are probably my top 3 for anime. Video games, I mean, I've played so many that I'm just happy to be in them at all. Like, I mean, Zenless zzzero is already like such a big thing for me. Like, I thought it looked cool before I even was in it. But Resident Evil, I think, would be really cool to be in. And like that's a tougher one because now they're doing mocap for a lot of it. So it's not just strictly voice acting. And most of that's done in LA, so I'm not there. But if I could somehow find my way in, just as an NPC or, somebody, I think that would be really cool. Plus, that would be like a game that both of my brothers would play, so it would be really cool to like keep it a secret. And then when they start playing it, they're like, that guy sounds familiar, But I have a hard time keeping stuff a secret. Like, it was torture trying to keep Zenless zzzero under wraps for so long. But for stuff where I don't have an NDA, I'm like, yo, guys, I'm in this really cool thing. And then I'm always like, man, that would have been cool if I had waited, but like, I just can't resist.
Oh, no, I get it.
It's so fun.
I'm horrible with Christmas gifts. I'm like, hey, you want what I got you?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. Well, I assume you're the type you really love to give Christmas gifts and stuff like that.
Yes. Because I'm like, I want to see the reaction. I want to see it's like, oh man, yes, we nailed it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. I love Christmas. I love birthdays. I'm always like, I have a list in my phone of like everybody I buy gifts for, and when I think of something that I'm like, I think they would like that, I put it on the list so I can remember it when it's the time. I mean, really, I've got it down to a science. I wait until Black Friday starts, and then I go on Amazon. I get all of it in one go. It's awesome. Especially, I mean, I'm not like paid by Amazon or anything, but I use their credit card, and it gives you like reward points when you buy on Amazon. So typically, I'll accumulate enough reward points throughout the year that I just use the reward points at the end of the year to buy everyone's Christmas gifts for essentially free for myself. So it's it's down to a science, really.
Okay. Well, listen, I have had a tremendous amount of fun during this interview, getting to know you, getting to know your lore, getting a peek into the mindset, of a voiceover voice actor. Let me ask, do you prefer a voiceover artist or voice actor? Which one would you prefer?
I mean, I don't really care that much one way or the other. I've never been like, I've got friends who call me Hank. I've got friends who call me Henry. My ex used to call me Hen, so much that eventually her parents started doing it by accident, which was funny because her dad would be like, "How's Hen? How's Henry?" And I was like, "Ha, gotcha." So I've never been like, you've got to call me by this specific thing, but I lean towards voice actor just because I think it's less wordy. It's just as descriptive, you know? Like if you say voice actor, I feel like people are going to get that just as much as they would get like voiceover artist.
Yeah.
I mean, some people I think would even get it more just because they hear actor and go, oh, okay, so actor. And then you can kind of explain from there. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything's fine. Like, I'm not that picky about it, but...
Well, we appreciate you. Where can the good people who are going to watch this video, where can we find you?
Well, on Twitter is... or the site formerly known as Twitter. You know, that's probably the only thing I would call like social media for myself. I'm not on Instagram. That's at Henry Schrader VO. If you don't know how to spell my last name, you can just Google IMDb Ben Bigger and then find me on there because that's where my credits are. And then for Twitch, schradersgamingcrater.
I like that.
Thank you. It was supposed to be Henry Schrader's Gaming Crater, but that didn't fit, so had to change it a little. But yeah, it's that's where I'm at. I'm very new to it, but I'm putting in work to make it a nice stream, a fun stream for everybody. And yeah, any of the other links that I'm not currently remembering, I've got a link tree on Twitter, so you can find all that stuff. I think I've got a link to my Amazon page for all my writing stuff on there as well. So if you're interested in that side of things.
Okay. Well, you know, you guys, we're going to put it all down below, but let me say you have sat down with greatness. Henry, I appreciate you sharing your time with us. Make sure you guys go and follow him, check out his socials, but also make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's been a good time. It's been a vibe. Make sure you stay fierce. Make sure you keep gaming, and welcome to the House of Hounds. We're out.
Thank you.
Thank you.